Hey CNC peeps! Most creators carve on things like pine, oak, all sorts of wood. But today, I want to carve on some more interesting things, like glass with the diamond engraver bit.
idcwoodcraft.com.
This is the diamond engraver bit from Widget Works. We're going to be using this, and when I say diamond engraver, I mean it has an actual diamond in the tip that is going to be scoring the glass to create the design today. Now, much like a standard V-bit, we have different degrees. I'm going to be using the 120 degree, and we also offer a 90 degree tip. You'll see this has an entire housing. It's because while it fits like any regular end mill, it does not work like any regular end mill because it is spring-loaded. Well, the reason for that is because your spindle is gonna be off. We are scoring, not cutting this glass, so it's going to be dragging as the diamond drag engraving bit across the glass to create our image. So to show you how to do this, we need to step into the Vectric software. Since this is my first time using the diamond engraver, I want to keep it simple, but I also want to kind of try a little bit of all the things. So I wanted to do something fun, but still keep it simple. So I relied on Adam for an idea. He said we should do some sunglasses and a mustache for like a little like look in the mirror moment. And I was leaning towards some text, so we did the two. And I've pulled a image of just some basic sunglasses off of Google here. And it's a pretty clear image, so I'm just gonna run it through the bitmap and see what happens. And honestly, I like those results. I don't see anything here. The tolerance was good. I don't see any funky corners that are bothering me too much. So I'm just gonna apply that. But the clearer the image that you bring in, the clearer your bitmap path will be when you're done. That looks like a good mustache. Always make sure it's free to use. Don't be stealing people's artwork. Okay, and this one scanned in pretty good. I don't like that funky little corner a little bit right there, so I am going to go into nodes and adjust that just a little bit. Delete that node. But the clearer the image that you bring in, the clearer your bitmap path will be when you're done. So that was mostly a personal preference that I did see in the image itself. So I could edit it more, but I think that I'm happy with that. And then last but not least, I'm going to add in some text. And when I'm adding in the text, the one thing I know that I need to do is make sure it is single line text. I know there's others that you can use in certain ways, but single line is the one that I've always been told to use. So in the create text feature, I'm gonna select that. That way, those are the only fonts that I see. Okay, and we're gonna go with U, Luke, Q. Wait, should I? No, I like it not capitalized. Now, for toolpaths, it gets a little bit different because so far it's just been basic bitmap and, you know, file creation. Once we go over to toolpaths though, there is the quick engraving toolpath, and that is for the diamond engraver. Up here at the top of the toolpath, you'll see first option is for your degree of angle. So that's where I was mentioning we have the 90 degree and 120. It's already set to 120, so I'm good there. Next is the depth/pressure. So because we are not cutting, we are scoring. It's not cutting a certain depth. You've got that spring and you've got to add a certain amount of pressure to score. So I'm gonna go with a in between, a medium, a conservative measurement that I've seen across the board with a 0.002. I might go more in the future, I might go less. I really want to play with the hatching and the fill, but because this is my first time using the diamond engraving bit, I do just want to outline. I just want to see it run because I feel like once I get into a hatching, you know, that's a long, big process. I want to see the result, learn how to use it. Since I'm not going to be doing hatching, I'm going to select the outline here, and that's going to gray out all of these options because I don't need them. We are not using a nose cone, making sure my safe Z is set correctly. Now, I don't have to worry about any clamping right now, but I do want to test out clamps with it. We're just going to keep it our standard 0.3 inches. Home position. If you have the IDC Woodcraft database, all of the diamond drag data is within there, the feeds and speeds. So you can just pull those up. Now, looking deeper into the tool database, you'll see that the spindle speed is set to 0. That's what you want, but that does not mean that the spindle will not turn on, because within your post processor is where it tells it whether you have a spindle, whether to add a spindle command, and so on. So since it doesn't know to not do that because you're using your machine that you normally use in your post processor, that was a lot to say. You're gonna need to go into the G code itself. How I'm doing that is I'm opening it with my notepad, and I'm scrolling down and I'm looking for the M3 command, and I found it, which means it would have turned the spindle on. Now, it doesn't have any speeds after that, but it still would have turned the spindle on. So I don't know like what it would have done. So we're going to remove that M3 command and then make sure that that saves. Close that out, and to triple check that that saved, I'm going to reopen that again in Notepad and make sure that that M3 command is not there, and it's not. I've got to do that with all 3 files because I did save them separately so I could take a minute to look at, you know, the result. M3, remove, and save. And one last M3 command to remove. Last but most certainly not least, and one of the coolest things about this toolpath is that you can save directly from the toolpath. So with the diamond engraving, there's not a great way to get like a preview of the carve. Some people have success with different materials on here, getting it to show a slight image like at an angle. But I have been unsuccessful in getting it to give me any sort of preview image. So it's kind of the other, it's a downside but upside since you're not going to see the image anyways. Saving it to your machine is right within the toolpath. Got my next wave machine selected. I'm saving toolpath. What's this one? This is the mustache. I must ask you a question. Make sure we save that to our flash drive. Boom. I think we're ready. This part always scares me. Everything's calculated in an outline. We've got the diamond drag bit, removed all 3 M3 commands. Say that 10 times fast. Eject. All right. Let's see how it works. Better question. Let's see if I did this right. I'm going to be using X-Fasten woodworking tape for my hold down method today. I cannot risk this bit running into any clamps, running into any hold downs. It's an expensive bit. It's got a diamond on it. It's fragile, and I really don't want to ruin this project. So for this test, let's see how this does. Not only does this tape give me a good out-of-the-way hold-down method, but also, while this tape does have a lot of hold-down power, it's a quick way for me to get a little bit of hold-down power, because I don't need much. We're not cutting through anything. We're just pressing down. I think that's good. I'll report back if that's not sufficient. I'm squaring it up so we can be sure the image is going to go on correctly. And I've picked this middle board here because it's the flattest one, most undamaged, unblemished, so we can have a flat hold down. I don't have to worry too much about it being slightly unlevel because the spring compensates for that, but I want to give it the best chance possible to get a clear image. Now I do have a second piece of glass, so I do want to test out a different hold down method later. Stay tuned for that. Ooh, I might have to move my spindle up. Obviously with all this housing, this is a pretty tall bit, so make sure your spindle's up there. I'm gonna have to move mine. Don't forget to get your chucking guide mouse pad from idcwoodcraft.com. I'm using mine to not only protect the bit, but also protect my spoil board, because obviously we need to protect this diamond from the spoil board and the spoil board from this diamond. Zeroing this does get a little nerve-wracking, as I've discovered. You cannot use the touch plate with this because it has that spring. It's gonna bounce back. So I'm using a very gentle paper touch method. Okay, we've grabbed the paper and we're back up. No marks. There's one extra step in preparing glass for etching, unlike carving onto wood, and that is a lubricant. Today I'm going to be using a 3-in-1 oil, and that's going to keep all of those glass shards contained and keep it from scratching and truly etching onto the glass. From what I understand, you just want a nice little surface layer. That feels better. I feel that difference. Feels a little closer to the glass, just lubricated, not like a layer. That feels like about enough. That should get the diamond engraver sliding across there good and hopefully catch all of the shards. I don't think there's too much, but we'll find out. Before we get started, let's make sure our spoil board's clear. You know, this gives me an idea. I did it right. Okay. I thought it was double carving and then I realized I was seeing the reflection. I was like, why does it look off? Okay, so it is lighter over here where it sounded less. So, I feel like I should adjust the Z or the pressure for the next ones to compensate for that. My only question is, was that the fact that there was slightly more oil on that end? Or is it because of, like, you know, the unevenness of the project? Inquiring minds want to know. As it was carving, we could hear the sound difference as it got towards this edge. And if you take a look at the level, yep, looks like we're just off on that side. So for the next one, I think I'm going to be using this a little bit more so we can keep everything on the same plane of carving, and if it's not, use some sort of shim to get everything nice and flat for the next engraving. I will say I skimmed over the cleanup method of most of the videos that I watched, so I don't know the best methods. If this is wrong, don't follow me. But I'm going to start with a dry paper towel to kind of gather the shards and the bulk of the oil. Probably shouldn't rub it all the way across like that. I probably should like pick it up. Probably should have had a soapy one ready, so I'm gonna go get that. Oh my gosh! Look at it! I think this turned out so good. And as for my first diamond etching, I'm excited to try more. And I learned so much and I want to try hatching now, so yay! So since we discovered it was slightly out of level, whether that's the floor, the spoil board, or what, I don't know, but I will be utilizing this a lot more. But since I can't quite utilize this and do double-sided tape, I'm gonna be trying out the edge hugger kit with some tape as my shim. Oop, it got me. So we have to measure from here to the bottom. That's 31 millimeters. I'm curious how these will work with the bevel. The only reason I do feel comfortable having these as an option with the diamond engraver is because they are so low profile. My clearance, I am not afraid of my diamond engraver running into these. Since we measured at 31 millimeters, I grabbed the 35 millimeter bolts, and these are gonna go in, slide a couple to the back. Starting with a double layer of masking tape here as my first little shim layer. See what that does for it. Slide that up underneath here. And that actually significantly helped. But we're gonna go more. I think that's it. So while these do have a lot of hold down power, I am not tightening these to push down and break anything. I'm just giving it a good hold on the edge here. Wiggle. Okay, not able to push it out of there. I don't know how much 0.002 of pressure is, so I think this is more than that. Yeah. I think this works perfectly as a low profile hold down method for glass, and obviously it works for much more. I'm very pleased it's got a tight hold without the risk of breaking anything. If you want to get a set for yourself, you can get those in the description below. If you liked seeing the different kinds of bits from IDC Woodcraft and what they can do, click that like button so I can come back for more. Comment down below if you have any tips on how to clean up the glass after the oil and how to level it out as well. And for that idea I got earlier, I think this wood would make a perfect frame. So if you'd like to come back and see me use a molding toolpath and other IDC Woodcraft bits, subscribe for more. If you're ready to get started on engraving into glass, mirrors, and more, you can get your very own Widget Works diamond engraver in the description below at idcwoodcraft.com. Learn more now. Go to woodcraftresources.com.